What's up, guys? This is Matt, that's Dan, that's Opie over there, and this is Jon Snow, King of the North.
King of the North.
King of the North. He was dead. He went from dead to king.
King of the North. King of the North.
King of the North.
Spoilers.
Spoiler. This is our Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 10, live after show. This is the last episode of the season finale. And I'm still trying to catch my breath because things happened.
Lots of things
happened. So before we get into it, I kind of know what everybody's going to say, but what did everybody think about this episode?
So I might be hated on, but I think this was the best episode of the whole season. I thought it was awesome.
You said
last episode was good and awesome and amazing. This one, I think, just progressed the story more and just was, yeah. What did I say?
You said that you might be hated on. I thought you were going to say you didn't like it that much.
Oh, no.
I was like, did you watch it? No.
Everybody will be like, oh, the big battle's really awesome. And it was. It was great. It was amazing. There was a wonderful episode. This one just had so much stuff and just awesome. I gotta say it, and I told you guys beforehand, the music through this whole episode is what sets the tone the whole episode.
Yeah.
Every scene is set by the music. It is intense. It is, you don't say a word to anybody from start to finish. You just shut your mouth and you watch the episode. It is that good. And that's why it takes the number one spot for me for this season. And this season takes number one over any other season.
I agree.
I mean,
it's just so good.
You complain all season long that there's just build-up episode after build-up episode and things are not really happening. But you gotta have, when it all comes together in the end, like, some TV shows won't tie it together. But this show, how does it tie it together so well and bridge from season to season?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like,
It does a great job.
it was written so well that it's like, it does seem kind of lame. You're watching episode 3 and episode 4 and episode 5 and somebody's moving along and then, but nothing happens and there's character build up and then, someone, something little happens just to keep you interested. But when you get to this episode, it's
a lot of payoff.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, so this is what you call payoff, not only for things that happened this season. This is payoff for a lot of things that have come that have been building up over these last 6 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, this was,
which is great because yes, of course they're going to have more payoff now in these final episodes because there's only going to be maybe 14 more episodes, so 2 more seasons. Maybe they'll push it to 20 episodes in each season with some filler ones, but I don't know. But we're coming to the final couple seasons, so they have to start paying things off and finishing storylines out. But it does it better than anything. Last year they cleaned up. They got 10 or 11 Emmys for TV. They completely dominated one every category. This year, they can be nominated in every category. Nobody can beat them. This season was even better than 5. It was just awesome all the way through. And this final episode pays so much off, and you're just so happy to see what happens. And it's scary, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is getting really intense. This is about to break loose. Big time.
Yeah, I think this was the best season, and I want to say, I think this was the best episode of the season, and I think top 3 of the series?
Probably.
Be willing to say?
It was beautiful.
And we also get to see the patented main character die. There's main characters that died. Multiple main characters died in this episode.
That's what makes it so much fun, is because you just have your payoffs aren't just, well, they're not going to do it because Marjorie's there. They're not going to do it because so and so's there. It's like, no, they do it. They just get it done, and you're just left going, mouth agape, just shocked and awed just by what just happened.
Which we had several of those, and I'm going to try to get up in the next couple. Of course, I mean, I'll be out of town for a couple days, but I'm going to try to get up a reaction video because I wrote down 3 specific pieces in this show that we were all just like. So I'm going to try to get that up in a few days.
I have to say again, this music is completely set up by the music. I think the music is one of the biggest players in this whole episode. Yeah. It is so good. It's so intense.
Before we get into it, though, give credit this season also. It was this episode. I think the music they changed up episode. The episode where the Hound it starts off with no intro at all, and it just goes right into the episode.
Yeah.
Those types of things just, it's off the beaten path sort of stuff that just like, oh man, that's just
it was just a different. It felt like a whole new soundtrack to an extent for this episode because we've never heard that. I don't think that much of an intensity. It starts out with the piano playing right at the beginning and the build up, and we'll go through all that. But I mean, and it just sticks all the way through it. If that hadn't been there, I think the episode still would have been amazing. But the music just makes it pop every time, and you're just quiet and you shut up and you watch the episode. It's that good. So
definitely. So let's get into it. Let's like we do every week. We're gonna run through everything that happened. We're gonna get to all the crazy stuff we're talking about. This episode's probably going to wind up to be about between 3 and 4 hours because there's a lot of stuff that happened. But Dan, go ahead and
okay.
Let's get started.
We fire off. We start with Cersei overlooking the sept, and there's no dialogue for the first few minutes of the whole episode. It's just the music playing, and it's everyone getting ready because the punishment is about to be doled out, and the sentencing and the court cases are about to be done for Loras and Cersei. So everybody's getting ready. You see Cersei getting ready. You see Tomlin preparing. Marjorie's getting ready. They come to the crypt and they get Loras out from the crypt. The High Sparrow is putting on his robes. The doors open to the sept, and all the crowd comes in and sets up, and then all the seven that will be judging Loras and Cersei walk in and take their positions while Tomlin's getting ready over here, and it's just a very somber feel all through the opening act here as all these people are preparing, and it makes it very intense to this point. When they finally start with some dialogue, Loras is brought to the middle of the room, and the High Sparrow speaks with him, and Marjorie's in attendance of this. Tommen has not made it over yet, and neither has Cersei. So you need to remember those two. He is brought before the court. It kind of cuts away again, and we show the Grand Maester Pycelle getting ready as well. And we notice that Grand Maester's still playing he's the old man, but in the room he's a stud.
Yeah, one of his women's is.
Yeah. And he kicks one of his ladies out, and all of a sudden a child comes up and whispers something to him to follow him, and that starts this whole still silent. You don't know what's going on, but you kind of got a feeling something's happening.
Let me stop you there, Dan. Do you guys remember back a couple of episodes ago when the guy who Cersei's Maester guy,
Qyburn,
talking about giving candy to the kids?
Yes.
That was kind of a foreshadowing now that I see that because he kind of
he found all of Varys' little birds.
Little birds.
Yeah. He took over all of Varys' little birds.
Okay.
So you see the Maester go off with this child. You go back to the sept again. Loras is there. The High Sparrow gets up and says, Loras, you're being brought here to be put on trial for your crimes. How do you plead? He's like, there's no need for a trial. I'm going to confess everything. And Sir Loras goes through confessing every crime that he's done, even his arrogance and everything that, the High Sparrow wants to hear pretty much. And pretty much says, I'm going to, as punishment, I would like to renounce my family, my name, everything, and follow the way of the seven and only protect them and work for them for the rest of my life. And so the High Sparrow goes through some spiel, again, he's like, what you're asking for? And he's like, no, I know, I understand. He's like, okay, that's fine. And the three of the Faith Militant come out and grab him and pin him on the floor and start carving the symbol into his forehead. And Marjorie's coming out. She's upset. Like, you told me he wouldn't get hurt. And he's like, he's not going to get killed or anything. He's going to be part of our group, So it cuts from there, and it goes back to Cersei still preparing for her sentencing, and Tommen's still in his room. Well, Tommen turns to go to the door, and the Mountain is at the door. And Tommen's kind of like, I'm just going to go, man.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. So
I'll
go this way, you go that. So embarrassing.
And the Mountain does not allow him to leave.
I thought that Mountain was going to kill him.
I thought so too. I thought Cersei was actually going to have her own son killed.
Yes, because he fell in with the High Sparrow. I thought Cersei was going to just kind of lose it and have him killed.
Yep. So it goes through this. So you're like, okay, Tom is being held up. Grand Maester's been called away for something here. Marjorie's there, and she knows that Cersei and Tommen are still not there. And so she kind of makes a remark to the High Sparrow. The High Sparrow finally says, well, the faith she hasn't shown for her, we need to send you guys over. You need to go get her now and bring her. So the faithful, led by Lancel Lannister, head out the door. Well, this is where they see a young boy running around in the streets and running down the steps and duck into a little alleyway. So Lancel takes off after him. It's chasing him. Now we're cutting between multiple scenes. We see the Grand Maester walking with a child down to this area. He doesn't know where he's going. You see Lancel moving through all these crypts and these underground passages, chasing this small boy around. And first it comes to the Grand Maester. He gets into this room, and Qyburn steps out from underneath. And guys, are we paying attention to the show?
No, there was a spider. Okay. There was a spider hanging from a ceiling.
Oh, okay. Hold on, everybody. We'll get back to the episode.
Oh, sorry. There was a. I just look up and there's a spider right in front of my face. I had to. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we move from there.
Trying to get rid of the dead spider now.
We're gonna pause the episode for a second.
Oh, hold on.
Anyway, so Faith Militant, they're sent out. They go down. They find a boy that's out in front of the building. He runs off. Lancel starts chasing him through the alleyways. Grand Maester's still following a child down through these rooms. The music is still the only thing that you're hearing.
Yeah, because had any dialogue. Oh yeah, there has been a little dialogue.
Well, yeah, only the Loris court stuff and Marjorie mentioning something like, Cersei's not here, and why are you hurting him? You said there'd be no pain. Anyway, so it goes from there. The Grand Maester, he is the first to get to his demise, pretty much. He ends up in the small room, and Qyburn steps out from behind the counter, and it just is like, you don't deserve this type of death, but it's something that has to happen, and you're, I'm sorry. It apologizes pretty much. And all of the little birds kind of step out from the shadows and pull knives out of their robes.
Crazy little kids.
Yeah, little kids ready to take him down. It flips from there back to Lancel. He's still chasing the little boy through the tunnels and everything. They get down to a certain point, and he starts to dive down into another hole. Well, this is where all the little kids walk up to Pycelle, and they stab him to death. And it's gruesome. They kill him. He's dead. Pycelle's dead. During this time, Marjorie's still going down to the High Sparrow saying, listen, we got a problem. Cersei knows the punishment she'll get if she doesn't show up, and she doesn't care. That means she's doing here, something. Yeah, she's not here still. We need to get out of this place. And as we watch that, it comes back to Lancel. He's down in the cellar, and he sees all these barrels all over the place, and a young bird comes up and stabs him and drops him to the ground so he can't walk.
I thought maybe the knife was poisoned or something, because he only stabbed him once, and he acted like it was the biggest thing.
I think the kid just knew where to hit. Drops him to the ground. The kid, Lancel's laying there, looks up, and there's green ooze coming from all the barrels. Like, oh no, this is wildfire. And it's all underneath the sept. So, and he looks down the way, and there's 3 candles laying in puddles of wildfire about to ignite it. So he's dragging himself and goes back to the church. Marjorie's like, we need to get out. She grabs her brother. The Faith Militant and the High Sparrow will not let anyone out of the sept because he doesn't think this is happening, but he doesn't understand what's going on, pretty much. He's kind of, just like, wait, wouldn't you do that? No, she wouldn't do that, And it clips back to Lancel dragging himself, and he almost gets there, and then boom, the wildfire ignites and blows up right through the center of the sept, kills the High Sparrow right away, burns everyone to death that was even in there. Marjorie's dead, Loris is dead, their father's dead. All of them just burned to death. Anyone who was in the building. I mean, it shows rubble just being thrown throughout King's Landing, landing on streets, crushing people, everything. And so now Qyburn has Pycelle dead, Lancel's dead down in the basement, and now everybody who was in the sept is dead. And Cersei is looking on in good fortune, just smiling away, happy with what she has just done.
And can we take a minute just to mourn the loss of Marjorie?
She was so pretty.
I really.
Obi, we can't hear you if you're.
Yeah, if you're talking or anything, you might be muted.
Yeah. So.
There you go.
I did write down "Don't F with Cersei."
Yes. So she grabbed Sir Loris and started running. I was like, oh yes, at least she's gonna get out. We might have a chance to see her some more. And oh god, that's what broke my heart most. Is like, sure, half of King's Landing was killed, but Marjorie was one of them, and that's what really hurt.
That's a painful one. When we go over there, we notice that the nun is all locked up down in old Cersei's little dungeon there.
Shame nun. I don't remember her name, but
I can't remember. Shame. I don't know her name.
Like something like pie or pal or something like that.
So she's down there talking to her, and just saying, and she goes into full detail. She's like, I let my brother have sex with me because I like it. I do this because I like it. I do this because I like it. And
that's the first time isn't it the first time she's outwardly said, my brother, because
first time she's ever brought that up. And then the nun's kind of like, I'm okay to die. I don't care. I'll die right now, and I have no problems with it. And she's like, oh, no, sweetie, you're not going to die right now. You're not going to die for a very long time. And here's the guy that's going to mess with you for a little while you scream at me because he's going to torture you. And in walks the mountain. He takes his helmet off, and she's like, you've been praying to your 7 gods. This is the god you need to worry about. And he comes in, and she shuts the door as the screams start coming from the room and seals the little flap. And
we still didn't see his face exactly. We still didn't see the mountain's face. It was kind of in shadows.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to... they showed it. Yeah, no, he stepped out of the shadows a little bit. He's blue.
A little, but it wasn't like full on. I wanted to see that.
Gotcha. So it clips from there, and you see Tommen just standing there in the window. And he's staring out, and he sees the whole explosion and everything, all the stuff that's gone on. And he just kind of walks off screen.
But the shot doesn't change. The shot is still out the window.
Stays in the window, which was total foreshadowing.
Take his crown off
over in the off camera, he takes his crown off because when he comes back, he doesn't have his crown on, and he just steps into the window and falls, commits suicide, just jumps. And that was kind of just. I think it's just like they said at the end of the show. He had nobody to lean on anymore. Everybody that cared, his mom, he's completely turned against. The Faith Militant and the High Sparrow are dead. His wife is gone now. The city's going to turn on him because he caused this huge explosion. He has nothing, and so he was just like, I guess that's the end of me. See you later. And threw himself out the window.
It was funny too, that scene. When he walked off screen, Opie, you turned your head, and I guess because you've got soccer on, which can't figure that out. But he stepped up in the window, and you still weren't watching, and I was like, oh, Opie's gonna miss like this crazy part. But luckily, you turned around. Proud of you.
So it jumps from there, which we've lost like 4 major players already. Boom, just gone.
Half the cast is
Morris,
dead at this point.
Marjorie, High Sparrow, Lancel, Tommen, Pycelle, everybody just gone.
Pretty much the only character left at this point is Podrick.
Right. It's Meat Pie, or what was the little boy's the Meat Pie boy that was with Arya from?
Right.
He's the only one left. He's just out in the just making meat pies for people. Anyway, so just from there we go to the twins where the Freys are, and they're toasting Jaime, and the Lannisters like, we got River Run back. We're so happy, blah blah. The Lannisters and the Freys send their regards. And they're all just enjoying stuff, and it kind of moves from him, and it goes down to Bronn and Jaime. Which, by the way, so Bronn is a lord now. Okay, he's going to be meeting up probably with Tyrion and Dany before any of the ones up north do. Tyrion's going to befriend him, and then Bronn's going to use his smoothness, and he's going to marry Dany and be king of Westeros.
Mic drop.
Boom, mic drop. Bronn is the man.
Bron's going to be king.
And then him and Jaime are going to go off and solve crimes together and start a TGIF sitcom. Anyway, so Bronn's sitting there talking to James like, you don't even try. These women throw themselves at you. You're not even trying. And so Jaime calls.
It's what you guys used to tell me when we would go out like back in the day.
Well, you have to mention that while they're sitting there eating, there's a servant girl that's serving them food that's giving Jaime the old stank eye. He's like,
well, I don't think it's a stank. She's like hitting on him. Yeah, she's hitting on him. Yeah, she's not putting the stank eye on him. That's why Bronn makes the remark. He's like, you don't even have to try, do you? She's like staring and smiling at you and everything. And then the 2 girls in the back start doing the same thing. And then Jaime's like, come over here. This is Bronn. He's the mother of dragons. He's a great fighter. Hump him.
And they do, apparently.
Yep. He went off and was ready to roll. So it clips back, and after Bronn's gone, Walder Frey walks over to Jaime, and he's like, hey, we did it, man. We're the best. We're cool and stuff. And Muir is back in prison. We killed the Blackfish. All this stuff. He's like, Blackfish got killed by a bunch of freaking knights. There were a bunch of little soldiers. What's that? He won an epic battle, and Jaime's kind of like, you've never been in a fight, have you? You've never fought anyone. You know, you can't stand up to everybody all the time. And of course, Frey has to say, well, no, I don't fight anybody. I've done all this, and I haven't touched the sword at all. And he's like, and then he starts comparing himself to Jamie, and I think that's what ticks Jamie off and pushes him over the edge right there. Jamie's just kind of like, I am not you. I'm a fighter. This is what I do. You're not a fighter. You
Right.
just manipulate people, and you don't understand how I'm a Kingslayer and you're a Kingslayer. So, sorry guys, we lost a person.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, so until Opie comes back, there's just gonna be two of me,
Double match.
just because that's how we need the camera setup to work.
Fair enough. All right, so Lord Frey continues to insult Jamie. Jamie kind of steps back and was like, listen, you kind of need help every freaking time you lose that castle. At some point, we're going to get tired of helping you. And just kind of walks off, and Frey's kind of like, what did I say? What? I thought we were buddies. Anyways, so it goes back, and Qyburn's meeting with Cersei. He's telling her what's happened to Tommen. And Cersei's like, I need to see him. He's like, you don't need to. You don't have to. She's like, no, I want to look at him. And kind of Cersei's there and sees her son dead. And I think this is the first time I've ever seen Cersei, like, not really care for the child that died. I think she was legitimately mad at Tommen because she's just like, just have him burned. His ashes can be spread.
Oh yeah.
Just like, woo.
Well,
She cried her eyes out when Joffrey was dead. When I think it's Marjorie also is her name, or Marcy or whatever. It's an M word. Every girl's named in the town. When she's dead, she's crying her eyes out there. She couldn't even go see her daughter in the set because she was banned from it at the time. Just totally distraught and destroyed. This time she looks at him and she's like, there's my third son. She's like, just have him burned.
well, see, was she just didn't care and super pissed at him, or was she just so desensitized and she'd just been through so much?
I really think
she was just like couldn't.
I think completely lost touch with him. I think when he told her that she couldn't do trial by combat, he was shutting her down at every point. And he's sticking with the High Sparrow and Marjorie. I think she finally was just like, you know what, whatever. I think she's still upset because it is her child. You can tell she was still upset, but this is the one that she's just like, burn him. Whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
Kind of that attitude. So it goes from there, and you go to Sam and Gilly, which is on TGIF as well. It's after the Jamie and Braun story.
No, it's before, because the Jamie and Braun
before.
show is a little bit more adult, so it's like
That's
after
true.
the kids go to bed.
That's true. That's like the 9 to 10 o'clock. It's actually an hour long.
Mhm.
They're solving crimes together in a restaurant. So you go to Sam and Gilly. They have finally arrived at Old Town. You get this beautiful shot of them looking over at Old Town, and it's really, really cool. And they do it just beautifully. And you see the tower in the middle, and all the white ravens leaving, which that'll signify something a little bit later. But that's the tower where the Septons pray, and that's where they learn, and that's their college. That's their college. That's where they become a maester. And so Sam's on his way to do that. So he shows up. He comes in, presents his letter a couple times to the guy who will not move his hand. He has to keep leaving to give him the letter. Explains to him, he's like, hey, I'm supposed to train here as the maester for the Night's Watch. They don't know that Jon Snow is now the leader and no longer the leader now. They didn't know that Mormont had died. They didn't know that Maester, what's his name? Not Maester Ewan? Maester Owen? I can't, Ewan?
Which one?
Mr. Aemon.
Yeah.
Aemon. Maester Aemon. So Maester Aemon has passed away. They didn't know that. They've not received any ravens of all this information changing at the wall. They didn't know. So he's just like, well, we're going to have time to talk to the High Maester. You have access to the library. And he stops Gilly, and the baby's like, no, you can't. No children, no women. And so Sam goes in by himself and kind of looks at it. And this library is massive.
It's huge. It has all the knowledge of all the world in it, I think.
Yeah, it's so huge. I almost want to picture its own clouds are forming at the top, because it's just like this massive room, just stairs and stairs everywhere, just books and books everywhere. It's really amazing looking. I thought it was a great shot and an awesome looking thing. So So yes, we have the beautiful library, and that is all we get of the Gilly and Sam show. It flips from there, and it goes to a white raven flying, heading to Winterfell. And it gets there, and John's kind of inside talking to Melisandre. He's remembering his family and how they all sat in the throne room or in the dining hall there, and how he always had to sit away. While he's doing, he's talking to this all to Melisandre. In comes Davos, and he throws the toy of Shireen at her, and he's like, "Explain yourself. Tell me what happened here." And she kind of goes through. She doesn't lie. She's like, "We burned her at the stake." Explain to him what you did, and Davos is pretty much like, that part is so good. You can tell he's so upset how much he cared for her. He's in that scene.
I like Davos because he's very noble in the truest sense of the word. Like, he's not shady. He's not out for himself or anything like that. Yes. He's just, he's just noble. He's always doing what he truly believes is right.
Yes, I agree. And that's the funny thing. He's called the what was it, the Onion King or the Onion Knight, because he was a smuggler and brought food into Stannis and all that. But anyways, he's probably the most noble out of any knight we've met in Westeros, if not one of the best ones. But yes, he confronts the Red Witch, and she's kind of making her case. She's like, "You're never going to win this without me. You need me." And Jon just kind of looks at her and is like, "You need to ride south, and if you ever come north again, you will be executed."
And I didn't expect that.
Yes.
See, I was the opposite. Of course, I like Melisandre, but I kind of thought he was going to say what you did was a terrible thing, and maybe you'll pay for your crimes later. But I thought he was going to kind of look at Davos and say, what's coming is a terrible, terrible threat, and we need her.
But why? Why do they need her?
Well, I don't know. But I mean, I thought because she has a connection to the Lord of Light, maybe,
well, that's fine.
Or something, but I mean,
Dawn's already told her, "I don't want to be rezzed again," and I'm making that order. And she told him, "No, I'll do what the Lord of Light tells me." He's like, "No, I don't want to be rezzed." So if she can't res him because he said so, she hasn't done any powers against the White Walkers. She's never even fought any White Walkers.
But see, we don't. So, but that's what I was thinking. Is like, well, maybe she's special in a way that we don't know yet, and maybe he does think that he'll need her. He'll need every able-bodied person, no matter what their skill is, because what's coming is so bad. So that's kind of what I thought he would say, but he told her to pack her bags.
She actually doesn't serve a purpose to him anymore because he's already alive. He doesn't want to be rezzed again. So there's nothing else she's really doing. If she's going to bring up some more, I have some more incantation and things, some premonitions, but I need this, and end up killing the innocent again and making mistakes, he's like, I don't want that on my head. And he's also still got to act as a king up north or as a leader up there and continue to do the laws of Westeros. So he's like, no, you'll be executed. Get out of here. I'm giving you an opportunity to live by going south. If you come back, you're dead. And then Davos repeats that, like, if you come back, I will execute you. You will be dead. I will take care of it. So it shows her riding off, and Jon and Sansa are kind of sitting up.
Do you think we've seen the last of her?
Maybe. I don't know. I think she'll get down south and end up being like part of Dany's group or something, head to Dorne, or maybe get to King's Landing, something like that, and hook up with some other group.
Yeah, I think she'll pop up again.
Yeah. So as there, Jon and Sansa are kind of standing up in the towers. They're talking about, what transpired. Jon's kind of saying, hey, I've set up Mom and Dad's room. That's yours now. She's like, no, you're the leader. He's like, no, you're the actual Stark here. I'm just a bastard. She's like, no, you've always been a Stark to me. And then they kind of get into the conversation of, listen, and she apologized. She's like, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you about Littlefinger. I should have said something to you. And Jon just kind of looks at her and is like, listen, we need to trust each other. We have to be together. If we're fighting each other, then that's just going to cause more problems against us. And she kind of agrees with it. He kisses her on the forehead. Oh, and she also tells him that the Raven arrived, that the Raven has arrived, that winter is now here. And that's kind of I don't know if it's a big moment, but it's just a moment in the show where Opie, I can't hear you. I don't know if you're muted or not.
No, I'm not muted.
There you go.
Sorry.
Well, you were. Anyway, so they kind of talk a second about that. They're like, hey, yeah, winter's finally here. Dad's been telling us all this time. It's like, well, we knew it was coming anyway, so yeah. But it was mainly just to say, I think that whole scene was just to be like, those two need to trust each other more.
But why is that? Why is there a little mistrust between the two of them?
I don't know.
That's what I haven't figured out yet. You know, she didn't tell him about hollering out to Littlefinger.
She is now in the game. She's playing. That's all she's been raised to do for the past. So she's not noble. She's not been thinking like that. She's been around too many people that act distrusting. I don't really think she trusts anybody.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that's what it is. She doesn't quite trust anybody.
She just doesn't know how to trust people anymore. If you just look at her, where she's came from since she left John and then come back to John, she's not the same person, even though he's been, it's two different paths. He's been fighting noble, with an army trying to do the right thing, and even when he got betrayed, he was still trying to do the right thing. And she has been the totally opposite. She's seen the worst. She's been around the worst human beings you could be around, and been involved in the political aspect of the whole Game of Thrones. And that's part of the reason I think she does it. She's starting to know how to play the game, and that's even though her father and her family didn't come from that.
That makes sense, but I mean, towards the end, when John becomes King of the North, she doesn't put up any awkward fight against that, because Littlefinger asks her, you marry me, we rule the Iron Thrones, blah blah blah. So I don't know if she's playing the game or if she wants to. I think she wants to just let John be king and her.
I think she does now.
Yeah.
At this point, after all that's happened, I think she does.
Well,
I think she's with John now.
There's still so much to come out. You don't know if Bran's going to come back and tell everybody that John's a tiger, what John really is, and there's still.
I think he will at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, he has to. Well, he's about to cross the wall.
Yeah. We'll get to all that in a minute.
Yeah. So it goes from there. It jumps down to Dorne. You have the Queen of the Thorns and the Sand Snakes. I forget their mother's name every time, so please add that in. When talks to her,
Susan,
the Queen of Thorns, who always cracks me up. All the Sand Snakes are talking smack. She's like, "You three need to shut up. Shut up." Pretty much, it's like, no, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to her. We're having a conversation now. Why do we need to have this meeting? And she's like, well, Dorne and the Tyrells both been, attacked by the Lannisters. We need to ally up. And the Queen of Thorns pretty much says, I don't want an ally. I want to go and destroy these people. I don't care, to the ends of the earth. I want them all crushed. And pretty much what she's saying. And Dorne is on the same side. Like, yes, we want to do the same thing. And she's like, we do have an idea of how to do that. And then out from the shadows walks our friendly dude Varys, who's just like, what? This is my whole expedition.
Our friendly neighborhood eunuch.
That's right. He comes out and he's like, we can do it with blood and fire from across the sea, and kind of pulling them under Dany's banner before Dany gets there, which is good because now her ships can land in Dorne and march through there and be okay because Dorne is on her side. Ooh. And what would be funny is those Sand Snakes, or that lady thinks they can take down Dany, and she makes an example of one of the Sand Snakes. Yeah. It's just like, you can do what you want, but you got to remember, I am the Queen of Dragons. You have no opportunity to beat me, whether you came to my side or not. Because Dany's got to put her foot down on these people too. She has to be a strong leader, and that's what Dorne needs. They got rid of the Wimpy brother, and they're like, we need a strong leader, and Dany's going to be probably that one that they follow. So we'll see.
But they're not going to land in Dorne. They said they're going to take over Casterly Rock, or they're going to land in Casterly Rock, didn't they?
No, that was
they can't really land right on the Lannisters' land.
Okay,
that's what the ex-boyfriend wanted to do. He wanted to land on Castle Rock and yada yada. It was his big pitch.
You're right.
They're going to land probably down in Dorne, so they're safe to unload and get in and start marching on to Westeros.
Do you guys see a trend in power women in this whole thing? I mean,
there's totally, dude. All the men are being going away. It's all ladies and Jon Snow.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
You have Cersei, who's dominating up there. You have Dany dominating. You have the Queen and the lady from Dorne who are instigating together. You have Yara? Who is trying to be the leader of the Iron Isles with her brother behind her. Yep. You have a strong person that's following Jon Snow and that young girl. The
10-year-old.
The
Mormont house. Yeah.
they're all being built up, and it's all about these young women that are kind of just taking over Westeros right now in a strong fashion.
Which is kind of fitting. I don't think it's done that on purpose. It's just that the men kill each other. You know, I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
or get killed.
So it jumps from there. We go back to Dany. She's
Wait,
in
real
her-
quick before you go, in the chat, Lou, our buddy Lou, says that about Sansa's mistrust issues, that she's creating Ramsay's kid and it's taking over her mind. That's interesting.
You know, maybe she is pregnant, and that's the last truth she can tell Jon Snow. You never know. He raped her.
Ooh, I don't want to think about Sansa being pregnant with Ramsay's kid. I don't want to think about that.
He was, he did a lot of bad things to her.
I don't want to think about that. But I'm sure he was safe. I'm sure he used protection.
Right. Well, he was a gentleman, usually. So we go to Dany, and she's in her room. She's talking to Dario, which finally I got his name. The ships are almost done. Everything's almost ready for her to go across the sea. And she pretty much says, nope, you're staying here. He's like, why? She's like, no, you're going to stay here. I have orders for you. You're going to make sure and maintain Marine's freedom and make sure the city runs fairly and that they elect their strong leaders, because I'm going to need to have allies on this side of the sea right along with the other side of the sea. And Dario's pretty much like, no, wait, dude, I'm totally into you. Don't do this.
Yes.
And she's like, I don't know who I'm going to have to marry on the other side, but it may be a political thing I have to do. And he figures out, he's like, the dwarf told you to do this, didn't he? He's like, that slick guy is a smart move. And pretty much Dario's like begging, like, don't do this. I love you.
I love you.
You care about me. We have to be, you can't do this. Why are you splitting this up? And she's like, she sticks to her guns. It's like, no. And kind of Dario walks off, and she walks out, and Tyrion's sitting there, and he's kind of like, I know it's hard that you had to do this, but it had to be done. You need no ties to anything when you get to Westeros. You need to be the queen marching with your army. And she's like, you're not very good at consulting me. He's like, I'm sorry, And then finally gets towards the end of that scene, and he's kind of like, I don't have a sword to swear to you. First he goes into, I don't believe in anything. I've never believed in anything because I see what believing in something happens, and everybody uses something else to backstab somebody else. So I don't believe in crap. He's like, but this is the first time I ever believed in something, and I believe in you. And if I had a sword to swear to you, I would. And she's like, no, I want you for your mind. He's like, yes, I will give you my counsel. I swear my counsel to you. And then that's where she presents him with the hand of the queen marking.
Pendant,
He is pretty much the second in command of her armies and everyone. That is a huge position. It was the same in Westeros. The hand of the king is a very powerful person. He pretty much does the day-to-day business for the king and takes care of the kingdoms. So that is a huge thing. And Tyrion's already done it once before.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the second time he's been hand to somebody, and it's awesome. When she put that pin on him, I loved that because I love Tyrion, and he's so much smarter than everybody else. He's always 2 or 3 steps ahead. He is the perfect person to do this.
Right, but he also makes mistakes. We know he makes mistakes. He tried to make a pact with the slavers, and that backfired on him. But he was trying to do that in the best interest of Dany. And they say it at the end of the episode, too, that he, even though the city was under attack, Dany's been gone for almost the entire season. She still trusts him because he never ran off. He never did anything. He still tried to make the city run like she wanted it to. He stuck by her no matter when she was not there for months and months.
He didn't try to take it for himself or anything.
Right.
He just...
And he kind of makes some comment to her. He's like, are you scared? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, good, because, what we're about to do is a big thing, and you need to be scared. He's like, you're about to jump into the game, and this is where it's going to come. This is where it becomes real. So it jumps from there, which was a great scene. It goes from there, and we see old Walder Frey sitting alone, drinking out of his white glass, just relaxing. He's wanting some more food brought up, and the young girl brings up some food and sits it in front of him.
It's the same girl that was eyeing Jamie earlier. So
correct. I thought, are we meant to think that Jamie had that conversation with him, like not needing the phrase anymore, that he... I thought he was sending her after him.
Oh, until it was revealed who it was?
Yes. It was a big shock to me because, Jamie has that conversation with the phrase,
Well,
with
yeah,
him and says,
well, yeah,
you know,
he's just mad at Walder Frey. He's like, you need to shut up. Me and you are not the same. We're
Yeah.
not king slayers together here. You don't understand the situation I was in when I killed my king. And then he kind of walks off. He's like, listen, if we have to keep coming rescuing Butt, what's the point in keeping you alive?
yes,
And
yes.
those moments, yeah. But anyway, so Walder Frey's sitting there eating. He's waiting for his sons to show back up, and he doesn't understand why. And the young lady's like, well, they're already here. And he's like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, just look.
He's looking under the table and around in there.
And he opens up his food, and she had grinded them up and cooked them into the
Oh.
food she was feeding him. And he kind of turns, and she pulls off the face. And it's Arya Stark. Boom!
Well, and during that scene, and I think that's one of the ones I'm going to try to put in our reaction video, but Dan or Opie, one of you guys said, "Oh, I wonder if it's Arya," and in my mind I was thinking, "What an idiot! Arya's not there. She only just left." What you call it?
You got these time problems, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
That gets mixed up when they jump to a scene. It's like, wait, was it? How is he already there doing that? You got to remember, they're jumping time.
But I was like, nah, it's she's. I think her arc is done for the season. This is just some other chick, and maybe she poisons him or whatever. It's not Arya.
Anyways, it was Arya.
It totally
And
was.
She is just as dark as all get out.
Yeah.
She's like, your last thing you're going to see is a Stark staring or smiling at you while you bleed to death. And she slits his throat, tilts him back, and just smiles away as he bleeds to death. And we all cheered. We're like, woo!
Yeah.
Arya's starting her killing spree. She's a serial killer. Yay! She snapped.
It reminded me of the scene from South Park where Cartman's like, "I made you eat your parents. I made you eat your parents."
So we go from there, and Sansa's sitting in the Godswood of Winterfell, and in walks Littlefinger, and he asks, hey, are you praying? She's like, no, I don't do that crap anymore. She's like,
Just like that.
Life is a little bit harder now. Things have changed. And they're kind of discussing things about, militaries and things like that. Littlefinger kind of goes into what he wants, what he sees, and these little pieces of, how he gets them. And he's like, I see myself on the Iron Throne and you by my side. And pretty much making the reference like he wants to marry her. And he goes in to make his move, and he gets shut down.
He gets friend zoned.
Yep, friend zone straight up by Sansa
Yeah.
Stark. It's like, nope, we ain't having that. Sorry, brah. And it's kind of a smack in Littlefinger's face after coming to rescue her. And because if he had never showed up, they never would have lived. That would have been over, and Ramsay would still be alive.
Right.
And, yeah, but it's over now, and she doesn't care. But she's playing her side too, just like
It's what he would have done. I mean, she learned from him.
Yep,
You know?
exactly. So just from there, we go to Cold Hand / Benjen Stark and Bran.
Well, hold on. Before you go there,
Holding on.
Littlefinger makes a comment that says, who do you think they'll want to follow? A true Lady of the North, a Stark in name, or a bastard born in the South? Who do you think they'll want to follow?
Oh, yes, there is that remark, because that sparked me going, oh, they're totally going to go back on Jon's story right now.
Yeah.
Do the Tower of Joy and all that jazz.
Mhm.
But yeah. He makes that remark. Like, they're not going to follow a bastard. They'll follow a lady. Which is funny, because that all changes towards the end anyways. So, yes, it goes to Cole Hands, Bran, and the young girl. I always forget her name, but she's there too.
Right. That girl.
Right. And Benjen's like, this is as far as I can go, to the wall. And he makes reference. He's like, because the wall holds more than just ice and wood. There are strong spells and things that hold it, and I've been touched, so I can't cross that. Which is totally foreshadowing. So big. It's just like, because every one of us went, oh, Bran's been touched, he didn't tell Cold Hands.
Yeah.
So he
If the wall had fallen this episode, that would have been too much. I would have just lost it.
So it goes from there. Benjen's like, I will continue fighting on this side. This is what I do. I will be there for the fight on this side of the wall as much as needed. And rides off, and Bran says, thank you, Uncle. And they're there in the Godswood where the Night's Watch always take their oaths. And Bran goes up to the tree, and she's like, you sure you want to do this? He's like, yep, I'm ready to download more information. And puts his hand on the tree, makes the connection. It's USB 3.0. So it's going from
It's really fast. It's wired internet. He's wired.
And boom, we're back in the past, and there is young Eddard Stark standing in front of the Tower of Joy, and you hear a woman scream. And Art's kind of looking back because we still think that he may have saw Bran from another episode earlier. But he turns, heads into the tower, and he runs up, and the female that's screaming is his sister Lyanna.
Covered in blood.
She covered in blood. So he comes in, and she's talking about how she's like, I'm not strong. I'm scared. I don't want to die. And Jon's like, we need to get her some help. We need to get this. And she's like, just shut up. Listen, I got to tell you something. And instead of telling the audience,
oh no,
they do the stupid whisper there. But don't tell Robert, he'll kill him. Don't do it. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so obvious. Just tell me. And I think Bran hears what she says because his eyes kind of light up a little bit. But it shows them on the bed. And does Lyanna die right there? No. She passes the baby to Eddard and saying, promise me you'll protect him. Promise me you'll protect him. Promise me.
Right, because again, she said, we just want to touch on it one more time. She said, you know what he'll do.
You know what he'll do.
And at first I thought she said, you know what Father will do, but I think she said what Robert will do.
Yeah, I think she said Robert.
Yeah, and you know what he'll do. Please protect him.
Yep. And she kept begging, and then finally says yes, and it kind of goes into the eyes of the child. The child's eyes open, and then it fades in, it fades back out, and you're at Jon Snow's eyes. Like, durr!
Yeah, mic drop.
Yep.
R plus L equals J, confirmed.
Confirmed.
Now, what is not confirmed yet is Rhaegar and Lyanna's relationship. Did he kidnap her and rape her, or did they fall in love and run away together and had a child willingly? That we don't.
I think they did because she's so adamant about don't tell Robert about this.
I think that too, and everybody else thinks that, but it's not confirmed.
Right.
Just like before tonight, R plus L equals J was not confirmed, even though everybody pretty much knew it. So there's still that part of the story left.
Yep.
And I think we'll get to that probably next season through more three-eyed Bran Raven. I think we'll get more of that. But so there's still a little bit more to the story that we don't know yet.
Yep. So we're down to the last couple scenes. We're at council at Winterfell, where a lot of the lords of the north are there, and Jon's talking to him, and they're all arguing amongst themselves again about blah blah dumb stuff. And Jon's trying to tell them like, "Kids don't get it. There's a really bad army coming from the north, and we need to be together. We got to fight together. Who cares if they're wildlings and your lords? I don't care anymore. We've been fighting nonstop with the wildlings. Shut up about it." And they're all arguing, and Lady Mormont, is it Mormont?
Yeah, Mormon. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The young girl.
Gets up and kind of shuts everybody up. She calls everybody out. She's like, "Your dad was flayed by them, and you didn't fight the Ramses with them. You hid in your tower, did blah blah blah. You lost blah blah blah, and you didn't do anything. He still fought them and beat them without any of you." And she's like, he is, whether he's a bastard or not, he has Stark blood. I will follow him till the day I die. He is my king. And when she says that, it kind of shuts the room up. And Sansa's over there like, she is so cute.
Yeah, and again, props to that actress. She's like 10 years old or whatever. Props to her for just being awesome.
Yeah, she is doing really, really well. And then it clips back, and then some of the other guys get like, Lady Mormont was harsh, but she was honest and true. She's absolutely right. And then they all swear their allegiance to Jon in a big uproar of King of the North, King of the North, King of the North. Matt.
King of the North, King of the North, King of the North, I'm King of the North.
You kind of see Littlefinger in the background going, wait, I didn't think they'd follow a bastard.
Littlefinger's pissed. He's not happy about it at all.
Of course he's not. Of course not. And Sansa kind of even glanced at him like,
yeah, she just...
Can Littlefinger go back to King's Landing? Was he banned, or did they know any of his involvement with Starks?
He plays everybody. So he left to go to the Eyrie to marry there because he was given lordship of that manor after the battle in King's Landing, the Battle of the Five Kings, after Rob's stuff fell apart, whatever. Anyways, so we jump over there. We have Bronn and Jaime riding to King's Landing, and they see the big burning building in the middle of the city. And so Jaime runs in, and it cuts to a scene where Cersei comes walking in with Qyburn, or Qyburn's already up there, but with the mountain and her King's Guard, and walks up, and Qyburn puts the crown on her, and she is now the Queen of King's Landing. And,
again.
the heir to the throne. Yeah, she's now in charge of everything. And I think everybody is scared to death of her because she has no limits anymore. She does not care. She has no kids, which they say in the end, they're like, that humanized her a little bit. But now she has no children. She has no humanizing aspect. She is now becoming this monster that is just hell-bent on taking down anybody who opposes her. And you kind of see Jamie even being a little worried in his face. When you see him standing up there, he's just kind of like, oh, what happened?
That's what I was thinking, is he walks in during the ceremony and looks at her, and he does not have the look of, yes, we got what we wanted. He has the look of, what did you do? What have you done?
King's Landing for 5 minutes.
I've got to leave for 5 minutes, and you blow the place up. Now,
back and you just tear it all down.
I think at that point, I think it's pretty safe to say, well, I guess, does he know that something happened to Tommen since she's taking the crown?
I assume so.
He's of course he's sitting there, standing there, feeling the worst. He's like, "Great, why is she taking the crown? What just happened?
What just happened? Gone? Yes.
Why is the city burning? What is going on? He's freaking out and a little worried. Yeah, so he doesn't know, but I'm sure he's kind of getting the idea. So jumps from there, and we have the final scene of the show, and you have Theon and Yara. They're kind of standing on a ship, and then it pans out. And you see more ships and more ships. They've all got their sails.
All the ships. All the ships are there.
Red for the Targaryens. And then it pans out and it shows the major ship. And then you see Dany and Tyrion and all of them standing on their ship and kind of flying around the whole fleet. You see the Dothraki with their horses stabled downstairs. And then you see the dragons fly over. And we know Dany is on her way to Westeros. And that is where the episode ends.
I thought that, showing the dragons fun. I thought that Dany was going to be riding one of the dragons. And again, we get it. You can ride dragons. We understand. You're the mother of dragons. Break her chains. Moon of my wind. Right.
Yeah. Water of boards.
Breather of fire.
Hot in the kitchen.
Yeah, we get it. So that is that. And they said it in the little post show, too, that that's what we've been waiting to see since the pilot episodes, and that's what we used to talk about early on. Is I used to say, I mean, everybody said it, but I used to say, at some point Dany is going to get amass the entire army of Essos and get on a bunch of boats and cross the Narrow Sea and go wipe everybody out, and that's what we're about to get.
Yep,
I think, and then and I love that. What I've loved about this season is they make reference to several times the bigger threat, the bigger war, the war that's coming and the real war and all this stuff. Whereas in seasons past, sure, we know about it, but nobody else really does, and nobody's really talked about the real war that hasn't even happened yet. And that's what this season's been all about,
What's funny is, John thinks the real war is coming from the north. Nobody knows Dany. I mean, everybody knew Dany was over there with all the stuff, but they didn't know that she was on her way now. There's a whole threat coming from the south. So it's just like, oh my gosh, he's worried about this up there, and he has less men. And now she's about to march in on, the Lannisters at the bottom and just totally lay waste to them. It's just like, oh my gosh, there's about to be a lot of dead people, and it's going to be insane. And of course, winter is now here, and Bran's about to go through the wall, which is going to knock that sucker over, which means the White Walkers are going to roll in on Westeros as hard as they can. It's about to get crazy.
Let me ask you guys something. Now that we saw that last scene of Dany crossing the ocean, do you think we saw the last of Jorah? You think that's the end of him?
Nope. I think we will see him at some point again. Yeah.
Maybe. I'd like to. You never know.
I expected him to show back up. Well, maybe he couldn't have found a cure before.
Yeah, she said don't come back before. Yeah. I think we'll at least learn of his fate. I don't think we can end his story just by her saying, "Go find a cure and don't come back till you do." Because then it's like, well, did he find it or didn't he? So I think we'll learn at some point. Dan, you said though that John's talking about the real threat coming, but nobody knows that Dany's coming. But Dany's not. I don't think Dany's not a threat to Jon and Winterfell and everything they have going on up there.
He is if he doesn't fall in line behind her.
Yeah, but I think he will. I mean, I think he would.
Why? The last Targaryen king they had was a mad king who almost killed everybody in King's Landing.
Well, but I mean, she has she's got Tyrion's backing, and don't they have and John?
Him and John kind of connected a little bit. Yeah, I can see that.
They're a little, but I mean, it's going to come out that John is a Targaryen, is of Targaryen blood.
But the only person that knows that is going to be his brother Bran. So will everybody take what Bran says for real? I mean, will it come out that Bran is the three-eyed raven now, and now he's this green seer that everybody must now revere, and what he says is gospel? It's like, okay, well, then that makes sense. There's nobody else that can complete the story there, unless Jon is able to climb on a dragon and fly it.
Boom! Matt's mind just exploded.
And that could probably prove his birthright to a Targaryen.
Oh no! You know what's gonna happen? He's somehow gonna get caught in a building, or somebody's gonna try to light him on fire, and he's gonna walk through it.
Well, I guess that could be it too. You never know.
That's what's gonna happen. Building's gonna burn down. He's gonna walk out of the building on fire, or he's gonna walk out unscathed. You heard it here first.
Listen, that's the only way that he'll be proven to be a Targaryen, because there's nobody else that can back up Bran.
This question, is Dany bringing the second Lord of Light witch with her, or did they just kind of use?
No, those people were just used to give Dany a lot of. Tyrion used them to preach the gospel of Dany to the people to calm the needs of the people.
Okay, so that wasn't.
It was just a setup thing down there. No. Okay. The only people you need to worry about, I think, are of course Melisandre. She's heading south, and then remember the men without banners are heading north to Jon, who have a red priest with them that has raised that one gentleman multiple times. Mm-hmm. So he's heading up north. So Jon's still going to have a red worshiper, up by him. He's just not going to have Melisandre now. She's heading north.
Do we know who the Brothers Without Banners? Do we know? Are they going to be cool with Jon when they get there?
Don't know. No, you never know.
We don't know that.
Yeah, we have no idea. So we'll see when they get up there. You're going to have old freaking the Hound up there. So. Whatever backing he's usually pretty on the
predictions next season. Are we going to see a game bowl? Do you think, or
it'll have to have? Well, it depends. If they go up north, the Banner brothers with Bannermen,
those guys.
Yeah, if they go up north, the mountain is down south, and Dany's going to land down south at Dorne and start attacking them there. So the mountain's going to end up going south, and they'll never.
I don't know.
I think that was just something.
I can't think of a good story reason for that to happen, other than it just being fan service to us. I can't think of how it would make sense. But I still think that the White Walkers and all that is a bigger threat than what Dany's bringing.
Okay, I'm just saying that he's totally concentrated on that, which he should be. And even he should, there's a huge army coming with Dany, a massive army coming. But he doesn't know that threat's there, so he's like, "Here we go, man. We're gonna take." Oh, dang it! Another freaking army. They got dragons.
Ooh.
Are you serious?
Lou in the chat. I haven't heard this. There's a theory that there's a dragon stuck in the wall of the north that Jon could get if Bran destroys the wall.
That's true. There's also Stannis' home has a bunch of these dragon statues that are around his keep that I think in the books Melisandre went back to pray to try to get to crack out that they were dragons as well, but it's way out there too. There was also something said that there is a dead dragon that's in the ice up north, and Jon might be able to bring it back, but it's a dead ice dragon, that might fight for Jon or whatever. But anyways, again, all hearsay. Nobody knows anything about it.
You know how Dany is impervious to fire and mother of fire and breaker of chains and all that? What if Jon has the same thing but with ice?
Okay, we get
because there's a whole song of ice and fire. What if Jon and Dany? But
that is amazing.
Ice and
the song
fire.
Ice and Fire, I think, is the song of a Stark who is winter, who is north, who represents the cold, who is that. And a Targaryen, who is fire and all this heat and dragons and everything, had a child named Jon, and that child is the true king of Westeros, and that is the person that should be on the throne, and that is a song of ice and fire. Those two that met and had that child.
We'll agree to disagree.
There's other theories about that too, right? Like Jon's the North and Dany's the South, and they meet and marry and they're together. Or there was the Name of the Swords, and the songs of ice and fire. Ned carried ice, and Stannis had the flaming sword. There's all kinds of different things that they compare. But
if Jon flies a dragon, I'm going to lose it.
Are you?
I'm just going to lose it.
You just get mad every time Dany flies one, but if I saw a girl on a dragon, I would not mess with her. That is also putting into the faces of the people's like, you do not mess with that woman.
All I'm saying is she just seems to ride the dragon a couple of times when it's unnecessary. It's like having a beat-up pickup truck and a Porsche, and you drive the Porsche to the grocery store because just to show off. It's kind of like that.
She does it to show off because it keeps the people.
She doesn't always need to. She can take a horse sometimes. She doesn't need to ride a
when you're
damn
mother
dragon.
of dragons and breakers of chains and baggers of groceries,
she doesn't need to ride a dragon all the time. It's a little bit,
If you had a dragon you can ride. Would you not ride the dragon all the time, even to the grocery store?
I'd be a little bit more modest about it.
No, you wouldn't. You're a liar. You know you are. Anyways, that is the episode, guys. We thank you for watching all season long. We really appreciate it. We have some plans to continue to do some podcasting on here weekly live with some gaming stuff, so please stay tuned. But again, we will be back, of course, next season doing Game of Thrones one more time. Which will be super awesome. But until that point, we thank you again for watching. You can go into the show more down at the bottom and see everything you can do to contact us. You can go to Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, nerdpunch, anything that has /nerdpunch on the end, that's us. Talk to us there. Send us emails, nerdpunch@gmail.com. Come watch us, come hang out with us, come talk to us. We love it. We appreciate it. We think it's awesome. And that's it, guys.
Fantastic season.
So, awesome season, and we will see you guys soon. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Peace, right.
King of the North.